Offensively, the optimism is easy to understand. In his first season as head coach, Brian Schottenheimer helped engineer one of the more efficient offenses in the NFL. The Cowboys moved the ball well, stayed competitive in most games, and showed flashes of being able to control tempo against quality opponents. While there is always room for improvement, the offense does not feel like the primary issue holding this team back. Defensively, though, it's a completely different story. Dallas struggled mightily on that side of the ball in 2025, especially in the secondary and in key moments late in games. Missed assignments, inconsistent communication, and a lack of depth were exposed week after week. That's why the hiring of new defensive coordinator Christian Parker is such a critical move for the franchise. Parker brings a modern, aggressive philosophy, but even the best scheme needs talent to succeed. That reality is why the Cowboys must be active in the 2026 free agency market. This list of 6 dream targets represents players who could realistically hit the open market and who fit exactly what Dallas needs. The Cowboys won't be able to sign all of them, but these names should absolutely be on their radar if they are serious about becoming contenders again. 1. Tyler Allgeier, running back, Atlanta Falcons. Even though the Cowboys plan to re-sign Javonte Williams after his breakout season, it would be a mistake to assume the running back room is complete. In today's NFL, depth at the position is essential, and that's where Tyler Allgeier comes in as an ideal complementary piece. Allgeier is a physical, downhill runner who brings a completely different dimension to the offense. At around 225 pounds, he thrives on contact and wears defenses down over the course of a game. He proved his ability early in his career, rushing for over 1,000 yards as a rookie in 2022. Since then, he's played a secondary role behind Bijan Robinson in Atlanta, but that shouldn't diminish his value. In Dallas, Allgeier would be a perfect fit for a zone-based rushing attack. His patience, vision, and ability to explode through creases would allow the Cowboys to keep defenses honest and maintain balance on offense. More importantly, he would give Dallas a reliable option in short yardage and late-game situations, something the team has lacked at times. 2. Reed Blankenship, safety, Philadelphia Eagles. When installing a new defensive system, having players who already understand the coordinator's philosophy is invaluable. That's exactly why Reed Blankenship stands out as such an intriguing target for the Cowboys. Blankenship spent 2 seasons playing under Christian Parker in Philadelphia, gaining first-hand experience in the system Dallas is now adopting. He's a vocal leader, a strong communicator, and a player who consistently puts himself in the right position. Those traits alone make him attractive, but his on-field production is just as important. The Cowboys' secondary has been a weakness for several seasons, particularly at safety. Missed tackles and blown coverages have cost Dallas in critical moments. Blankenship would immediately raise the floor of the unit, providing reliability and football intelligence. While he may not be the flashiest name on the market, he's exactly the type of player winning teams value. 3. Rick Woolen, cornerback, Seattle Seahawks. If the Cowboys want to make a major statement in free agency, Rick Woolen is the type of player who can do that. Few cornerbacks in the NFL possess his combination of size, speed, and ball skills. Standing at 6'4" with elite athleticism, Woolen is capable of matching up with the league's biggest and fastest receivers. Dallas has struggled to find consistency at cornerback opposite their top option, and that has allowed opposing quarterbacks to exploit matchups. Woolen would change that immediately. His presence alone would allow Christian Parker to be more aggressive with his coverage schemes, knowing he has a true shutdown caliber defender on the outside. Beyond the physical traits, Woolen has shown the ability to create turnovers, something the Cowboys desperately need more of on defense. Adding a corner of his caliber would transform the secondary and send a clear message that Dallas is serious about fixing its defensive issues. 4. Brian Burns, edge rusher, Carolina Panthers. Pass rush depth remains one of the Cowboys' biggest concerns heading into 2026. While Dallas has talented edge players, injuries and inconsistency have prevented the unit from dominating the way it should. That's why targeting an elite pass rusher like Brian Burns makes so much sense. Burns is one of the most explosive edge defenders in the league, with the speed and bend to win off the edge and the technique to beat tackles consistently. He commands attention from offenses, often requiring double teams, which opens up opportunities for other defenders. Pairing Burns with the Cowboys' existing pass rushers would give Dallas one of the most dangerous defensive fronts in the NFC. It would also take pressure off the secondary, allowing coverage players to be more aggressive knowing the quarterback won't have much time to throw. 5. Patrick Queen, linebacker, Baltimore Ravens. Linebacker play has been another area where the Cowboys have lacked consistency. Patrick Queen brings exactly what Dallas needs at the position: speed, physicality, and leadership. Queen has developed into a complete linebacker who excels against both the run and the pass. He's comfortable covering tight ends and running backs, but he's also aggressive attacking downhill. In Christian Parker's defense, Queen would be the centerpiece, the player everything revolves around. His ability to diagnose, plays quickly, and rally teammates would help stabilize the entire defense. For a unit that struggled with communication and alignment in 2025, Queen's presence could be transformative. 6. Jalen Johnson, cornerback, Chicago Bears. Rounding out the list is another high-end cornerback option in Jalen Johnson. While Woolen brings rare size and athleticism, Johnson offers elite technique and consistency. He's one of the best man coverage corners in the NFL and rarely gets beat cleanly. Johnson would be an immediate upgrade in Dallas' defensive backfield. His ability to shadow top receivers would give the Cowboys flexibility in how they deploy the rest of their secondary. With Johnson locking down one side of the field, Parker could be more creative with blitzes and coverage rotations. Adding Johnson would also provide long-term stability at a premium position, something the Cowboys have been searching for years. Final thoughts. The Dallas Cowboys don't need a full rebuild. What they need is targeted, intelligent aggression in free agency. The 6 players on this list represent dream scenarios, but they also represent realistic paths to improvement. If Dallas can land even 2 or 3 of these names, the impact would be massive. The defense would be faster, smarter, and more aggressive. The offense would gain depth and balance. Dallas Cowboys rumors today are heating up around a potential defensive overhaul in 2026, and Cowboys insider Nick Harris has laid out one of the most aggressive and intriguing offseason blueprints we've heard in years. The central theme of Harris's plan is simple but overdue. The Cowboys must actually spend money in free agency if they want to fix a defense that has flash talent but consistently fallen short against elite competition, rather than relying solely on bargain signings or draft-only development. Harris envisions Dallas attacking proven defensive playmakers while blending them with a young, ascending core already on roster. Up front, the Cowboys' defensive line would continue to be a strength, anchored by key returners such as Donovan Ezraku off the edge and interior disruptors Quinnen Williams and Osa Odigizwa. The addition of veterans like Jadeveon Clowney or Kenny Clark would give Dallas a blend of power, experience, and versatility, allowing defensive coordinator flexibility in both odd and even fronts. This group would be designed to win at the line of scrimmage consistently, something the Cowboys have lacked in big moments against physical offenses. With a deeper rotation, Dallas could finally keep its pass rush fresh late into games, where leads have too often slipped away. At linebacker, Harris's proposed additions would signal a major philosophical shift. Bringing in Nakobe Dean from the Eagles would give the Cowboys a high IQ, instinctive linebacker who thrives in reading plays and attacking downhill. Pairing him with Quincy Williams from the Jets would inject speed, aggression, and sideline-to-sideline range into the second level of the defense. Combined with the return of DeMarvion Overshown, Dallas would suddenly have one of the fastest and most athletic linebacker groups in the NFC. This trio would be built to counter modern offenses that stress defenses horizontally and target linebackers in coverage. The secondary is where Harris's plan becomes especially ambitious. Darren Bland remains the cornerstone at cornerback, but the vision includes surrounding him with long, physical, and versatile defenders. Siobhan Rebel's return provides size and competitiveness, while the addition of LSU corner Mansour Delane adds length, ball skills, and press man ability. Delane's inclusion in both free agency projections and draft monitoring underscores how highly Harris values his fit in Dallas' scheme. This unit would be built not just to survive, but to challenge elite receivers at the line of scrimmage and force quarterbacks to hold the ball longer. At safety, Malik Hooker's steady presence would be complemented by a new wave of talent. Dylan Thiemann from Oregon stands out as a versatile, instinctive safety who excels in both coverage and run support. Whether acquired through free agency or the draft, Thiemann represents the type of modern safety the Cowboys need, someone who can disguise coverages, play deep, or drop into the box without becoming a liability. His skill set would allow Dallas to be far more creative defensively, especially against motion-heavy offenses. Looking ahead to the 2026 NFL Draft, Harris identifies several round one targets that could push this defensive rebuild over the top. Ohio State's safety Caleb Downs is the crown jewel, a potential franchise-defining defender with elite instincts, physicality, and leadership. Sonny Styles, also from Ohio State, offers a hybrid linebacker profile that could thrive in today's positionless defenses. Jermud McCoy from Tennessee brings sticky coverage skills at corner, while edge rushers like T.J. Parker from Clemson and Keldrick Fall from Auburn provide explosive upside as pass rush specialists. The common thread among these prospects is athleticism, versatility, and immediate impact potential. Ultimately, Nick Harris's offseason plan represents a bold departure from the Cowboys' conservative tendencies. It's a vision that blends star power with youth, aggression with discipline, and financial commitment with long-term planning. If Dallas truly follows this blueprint, spending in free agency while drafting elite defensive talent, the Cowboys could finally field a defense capable of matching their offensive firepower and making a legitimate Super Bowl push in 2026. For a franchise under constant scrutiny, this kind of decisive action may be exactly what it takes to change the narrative. Welcome in, everyone. Settle in, because this is going to be a long one. Today, we're diving deep into Dallas Cowboys news, rumors, contracts, and the bigger picture of where this franchise is heading as we inch closer to the 2026 offseason. No quick hits today. No rush takes. This is about context, leverage, timing, and why the next few months might quietly determine whether the Cowboys are legitimate contenders or stuck spinning the same wheel yet again. Let's start with the headline that matters most right now: George Pickens and the Cowboys' contract situation. According to the Dallas Morning News, the Cowboys have not yet begun contract talks with George Pickens, and that alone should grab your attention. Not because it means something is wrong, but because of when it's happening. We are approaching the NFL Combine, which has become one of the most important unofficial deadlines in the league. That's when agents, executives, cap managers, and decision-makers all end up in the same city, having conversations that don't always show up on the transaction wire. And right now, Dallas is quiet. Pickens himself has been calm, measured, and honestly pretty mature about the whole thing. He said he's willing to wait it out, that he'd love to stay in Dallas, but he understands he can't control the process. That matters, because there are two types of players in these situations: the ones who posture publicly and the ones who let the business play out. Pickens is doing the latter. But don't confuse calm with leverage, because George Pickens has plenty of leverage. This is a player who changed the geometry of the Cowboys' offense. Defensive coverage has shifted. Safeties stayed deeper. One-on-one matchups opened up for others. And most importantly, when things broke down, Dak Prescott trusted Pickens to make plays that simply weren't available before he arrived. That's why Dak's comments matter so much here. Dak didn't hedge. He didn't dance around it. He said keeping Pickens is vital. He said it must be done. And when your franchise quarterback uses language that strong, it tells you something important. Internally, the Cowboys already know Pickens isn't optional. The only question is how they keep him.